Before we start talking, I just want to say I think that I'm always, I have to say it's always moving for me again and again every year to see the documentary really come out for its own. I think it's a beautiful thing, and I just want to say that. This mic seems to be a little low, but I don't know if we could turn up the volume a little bit. So, where do we start? I guess we start with just,
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, I can say, well, first of all, I want to thank, we want to thank New York Film Festival for launching this project that I'm doing with Charlotte and AJ, Field of Vision. And I can say just a bit about where it started. When in 2013, when I started working with, decided to team up with Jeremy Scahill and Glenn Greenwald to do reporting, what I had talked about doing is wanting to create a small team of people to commission work to do short form that's responsive to the news. And when I was in the stage of editing Citizen4, that's when we started having conversations. First I sat down with AJ about doing this, and then we brought Charlotte in. And in our first initial conversations, we were just saying, like, what is the type of work that we're interested in and that excites us, and in terms of short form and nonfiction and visual journalism. And we all are really drawn both to episodic form and to thematic. And so it was actually part of that conversation that led to Asylum, because I knew that I was going to go back to this material. This is material that I'd begun filming in 2011 with Julian, and when I was in Berlin editing is when I was contacted by Edward Snowden. And that film, in the first assemblies of that film, we had some of this material, so it included both Ed Snowden's story and Julian Assange's story. And then we realized in the editing room that it was clearly there were two separate projects, and so they sort of departed there. So that's the sort of origin of how this piece came together and how I started working with AJ and Charlotte.
So AJ and Charlotte, can you take us through the formation of this initiative, how it relates to Laura's work, and then how you guys arrived at the process of finding the filmmakers that you did?
Yeah, when Laura and I started talking last summer, I think we're both drawn to verite storytelling, and also just the idea of how the form of nonfiction is an incredibly creative, artistic form. But a lot of times, I think the frustration of, the joys often when you're making a feature-length documentary film are to burrow in and be part of something for a very long time. But there are also a lot of times when you really would like to respond quickly and do something that is either something that you're working on, you wish it could get out sooner, or you see an idea and you think like, oh, instead of, is it a feature, is it a short, who do I go to for money? Like, how do I start even this process? Like some level of freedom to say, something is happening and I want to respond, I want to be there with my camera, I want to capture it in a way that only a filmmaker can. Yeah. And I think just the more we talked about it, the more excited we got about that kind of approach. And Charlotte is a very like-minded person, so asking her to come and join seemed like an obvious thing. And I think that's just the funny thing about Asylum is that, and a lot of the projects that you'll see in a little bit, they really come out of just the conversations that the three of us had for a few months about what we wanted the project to be.
Yeah, and I will say that when AJ and I got the email from Laura saying, how about we include Asylum? We kind of both freaked out somewhat. We're like, yes, we think that's a great idea. And also, we are 2/3 of our team are filmmakers, and so it was really important they both keep doing their work and have that eye on the work that we're making, which I think is really exciting.
And one other aspect I'd like to talk about in terms of the commissions, it's very much a partnership with The Intercept and First Look Media, and bringing together with written journalism and print, and so finding stories where they can be used together and we can leverage the powers of both forms. And I've read so many times where I'm reading a New Yorker article and I'm like, God, I wish there was a camera in the room. And so we're also going to be teaming up like early stages and doing reporting to bring stories that can function both in print and in video.
But when we had our first discussion about doing this, the thing that you guys all stressed was the idea that it was filmmaker-based, in other words, individual-based, that it's, yes, looking at different issues, but that really what it was giving different filmmakers, individual filmmakers, the freedom to respond as they would, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we want to see people's perspective on something. So, you know, we've been very fortunate in the last few months, and we kept this very secret so we could really work and decide how we were going to do that. So in this case, we really reached out to all the filmmakers, and they can speak to that later of what that experience was like working with us. But it was so much fun to just say, we want your take on this subject. And that was really fun to see them, what they brought back.
Yeah, we'll line all the filmmakers up and have them rate the experience. Yeah, that'll be good. And Asylum is still in production. This
Yeah,
is
we're
something-
still editing. I'm working with the extraordinary editor, Melody London, who's here. And she's also editor of Laurie Anderson's film, that's also at the festival. So
Well,
it's been a great
Laurie's
honor.
here in the audience tonight, too, so.
And with Brenda Coughlin. And so we're still working. I mean, this idea emerged in terms of working with this material in episodic structure. For me, it was exciting as an exciting way to work formally in a different type of way than long form, and how you can approach material differently. So we began this, but we realized we need more time just to keep editing. So we're going to be releasing it next year.
But you had thought of it as a long form piece first.
I mean, I began filming with Julian. I approached him right after actually the Apache helicopter footage was published, before any of the other materials, the war logs, had come out. And I'd reached out to him, and it took time to get this access. And so when I started filming him in 2011, really what he was fighting were these court battles, and so that's what the material focuses on. So I was approaching that as long form, and I think that this. I mean, I'm interested in this episodic and how maybe it could be also form a long form piece, maybe more chapter based than interwoven, but the chapters could be maybe a bit modular and could stand on their own.
But again, feeling somewhat like Citizen Four as a real life suspense story unfolding.
Well, yeah, I mean, the kind of the narrative of Julian. Another reason that I really felt compelled to do that when we started talking was this, I mean, that Julian's been, it's been 3 years that he's been in the Ecuadorian embassy, and to want to return to that, and he went through doing a lot of publishing and I was interested in terms of time, like bringing the story up to the present tense, and as you say, sort of try to be there as things are unfolding.
So do we want to begin to introduce the work that we're about to see?
Sure. So the 5 films you're about to see are some of the first work that we commissioned, and we're excited for you to see it because we hope that it shows both the broad range of both topic and style that we hope to tackle. And we really, just before we start, we'll bring them up in a little bit, but I just want to thank all of our filmmakers who played the part of guinea pigs in this system that we were building. And I couldn't be happier with the work that they did. And also, I think we're just incredibly proud. It's not often that you get to see work that you enjoy so much and know that it came out of something that you helped to create. So we're really thankful.
Do you want to do any more setting up of the works individually, or do you just want to?
No, we could talk about them after. I mean, it's a combination. Some of these were what we were calling assignments. There were stories we were interested in, and we teamed up filmmakers. One of them will also have a print component. So there's a kind of range, but we can talk about that after you guys have seen the films.
Okay, great.
Thanks.
Let's go.
Thank you.
I think that when we were, Kirsten Johnson. I think that when we were before the presentation of these short works, we were talking about the idea of you guys each, talking about how you got involved with this project and how you came to the specific works that you did and how you met the challenge. So, hate to put you on the spot, but there's a mic right there. Oh, okay.
I don't make documentaries. I was really surprised when AJ gave me a call. So this is the first sort of traditional kind of documentary I've made. and yeah, I was given the assignment of Shepard Fairey, and he was getting these charges in Detroit. Yeah, I was attempting to just stick to that subject, but I just got interested in these Satanists, and I felt like I just wanted to explore that subject too. And thankfully, that's what's amazing, is that they allowed that the freedom of I don't know if anybody else, if you stuck to what was assigned or not, but that freedom was there. So it was, I felt very lucky that I was allowed to do that, because I don't know if I could have made, personally, not being a documentarian, I don't know if I could have made a movie that I liked specifically just about the Shepard Fairey stuff.
You weren't graded on the assignment, though, were you?
Yeah.
No. Okay.
I think the lack of freedom from the editorial staff is pretty clear in these films. We all were constrained in ways you can't even imagine. But Laura and I have been working together and thinking a lot about surveillance, but I've also been thinking about it since my childhood, raised by in a Seventh-day Adventist context. And so I was really interested in using material that I had shot in 2009 in Afghanistan for years, and then when this started to come into being, I enlisted Bill Binney, and we went on a drive in Maryland and filmed the blimp there.
Good night. Well, I'm very surprised with the invitation when AJ and Glenn called me to invite to shoot a film with homeless and dogs. And actually, I'm based in São Paulo, and we try to find good story in Rio. And then we start with a research in Rio. Birdie was so easy to find. It was not hard to find on Rio, but it was a very good experience for me to do this film, because Bird is a kind of philosopher for me. And well, I say thank you, Laura and AJ and everybody, Charlotte, for the invitation, because it was a challenge for me, and so nice to do.
I'll second the thank you. So Laura executive produced my previous film, which had to do with borders, but the idea was initially different. We were going to do something about police militarization, right, in the US, but that sort of didn't work out. So I had been following the story, which was brought to me by a friend, and I suggested it to them, and they loved it, and we decided to go for it. That's the Notes from the Border.
When they came to us, they just said, we think we have something that's really perfect for you guys. And they were very, very true. So thank you very much.
Yeah, they started talking to us about the ordinance in Eureka Springs, and then they mentioned something about this 70-foot tall Jesus, and we were like, yeah.
Sounds good.
Sounds awesome.
And did you guys have time limitations that were given to you? 20 minutes or under?
Just tonight. Oh, I think you meant time in terms
sorry.
of delivery.
No. That's not,
Yeah,
that's
well, we had to have it
something
here.
You have a time frame for the films.
I
yeah.
think a lot of these we think that are going to have home online, and they might
Yes.
have other, but so we want to have something that we felt would play well. So, and in some context, so, not more than, I would say 20 would be kind of a
Right.
maximum for one episode. But if it was a multi-part, then we were open for something to be broken into chapters.
So it's kind of a curating of different sensibilities, and yeah.
Yeah, and this is Michael O'Donnell's The Peace in the Valley. This was the first commission, and AJ had read about what was going on in Eureka Springs right before, and then we called them up. It happened really, really quickly. I think you guys went into the field how quick?
Within maybe about 2 weeks, I think, since when you guys asked. And then we were there for 3 days, and then we were able to go back and sort of piece a few more things together for a few days, a couple months later.
We can open it up to a couple questions from the audience. If anybody has anything. I can't believe it. We've got the whole documentary community here, and nobody. Oh yeah, Godfrey Cheshire, right there, the critic. See, but also a documentary filmmaker.
Two just basic questions. How are these films funded, and how are they going to be seen?
How are the films funded, and how are they going to be seen?
As Laura described earlier tonight, that when she started working with Glenn and Jeremy, that was something that they did with Piero Mudyar, and his First Look Media was kind of The Intercept was the first thing that they all did together. Laura was obviously busy finishing a film last year, and her piece that she really wanted to do as part of that partnership was What You See Before You. So we are part of the First Look Media family. And they've been incredibly generous and supportive of the things that we want to do. We have a commissioning budget that we're able to figure out the films we want to do and the filmmakers we want to work with, and that's been incredibly exciting. Most of the work will be on our site, which goes live on Tuesday. So the first film will be up on Tuesday, and then we'll publish weekly. We're going to work in seasons, so we will do about 8 or 9 weeks starting on Tuesday, and then we'll take a break over the holidays and come back in late January with season 2.
I think I heard your whole question. Were you inspired by any other companies in particular, or did you just create it out of? It seems to me that you guys created this. This is an initiative that needed to happen.
Yeah, sure. So both Laura and AJ have worked for a number of different outlets and who work in different ways on different platforms. And I think we really just felt like this is a very interesting time for documentary and how audiences view things. So it came from really a desire to, and also to create a platform. I mean, Laura especially, she can speak to this a bit more though. Laura's done a lot of op-docs for the New York Times, and it's a really amazing way for filmmakers to have just a platform to try things out, experiment, different ways of storytelling, and we really loved that idea. So it was trying to create our own spin on.
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, the experience, because I do long form, to work with OpDocs and Jason there to tackle subjects in shorter form was really great and exciting creatively. And so that was something that's happening and really bringing independent filmmakers and their craft to the forefront. And then I think historically we're really inspired by things like Life magazine that teamed up photographers with amazing writers and sent people into the field, and World in Action. There's a sort of long tradition of visual journalism that we're also, I think, trying to work within.
Yeah, right there. Are the subjects of the pieces involved in the presentation? Do they have a part in the revenue stream? Are they involved in any other aspect of the movie-making process and exhibition process?
The blimp is getting a huge cut.
Yeah. I was going to say, yeah.
And it knows what you'll be making.
The blimp knows exactly how much we've all made on this project.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's as in most cases in documentary, the thing that is the lifeblood of documentary filmmaking are subjects who are willing to open up their lives, their homes, their entire personality to a camera, and mostly don't expect that there's anything else beyond that other than I trust the person with the camera to tell the story in a fair way. So I think it's an interesting thing to be able to go into people's lives for a little bit of time, and I think in each of the films, they captured really incredible characters in a short period, which is I think it's not always easy to do in documentary filmmaking. Sometimes it takes a huge deep dive, but I think it shows that you can do it even in these quick turnaround schedules.
A question about Notes from the Border. Yeah.
I filmed everything, so it was just me, and I had my production assistant Dimitri, who's sitting over there. So he is from the island, of course, and it was, I would say it was pretty easy. I speak Greek, so it was very easy to navigate. Dimitri knew the island very well. I also come from an immigrant background. I left war from my own country, so to connect with the refugees was easy, even though I had a completely different experience from them. And also, I would say, you know, like Macedonian border, we had some issues with, and again, I speak the language, so I could sort of finagle my way out of things. Also, I sometimes pretend that I'm this young, innocent thing that I'm not going to do anything, so that helps a lot too.
I actually want to add, she keeps saying it was easy. We did get an email saying that I was a little bit arrested the other day. So,
it was just a 5D, yeah. I mean, they knew, but I think, yeah, you just find ways. Yeah. When you're small, you fit into places too.
Yeah. I'm sorry, can you just speak up just a little bit? How are the subjects chosen, and is there consultation with the filmmakers?
So the plan is to do a mixture of both. So it's things that we're really interested in, we want to see particular filmmakers tackle, but we're also very keen for filmmakers to come to us with ideas. So it's going to be a collaboration on both ends in terms of picking that.
Do you guys have the slate for the next series of films all mapped out, by the way?
There are some that are in production currently. Actually, Eloisa, there's a second part to her series about homeless and dogs in Brazil. And we're in the process of commissioning actually still a couple things for this season, and then working on next season's slate as well. Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
So we need to just summarize the question,
okay.
I guess.
To summarize it, so the question was about running times and the different running times and how will they play and will they play at other venues? And the answer is we're very interested in playing in film festivals, also teaming up with other distribution partners to find homes for the films. And so as we move forward, we'll start to plan like, oh, this one we'll try to time for a certain maybe launch at a film festival or another, or work with other partners. So I think we're really open to that. And in terms of Asylum, the larger project is very much in progress. And I think that we all think that the shifting in distribution means that we can maybe not be locked to what was a broadcast time slots.
Just do a couple more. Yeah. Yep.
So I think, so the question was about how will we work with video and with print and written? Is that?
Well, yeah, I got every
that's
third
one of the
word.
things that we're actually really, really excited about, and particularly in partnering with The Intercept and working with stories when they're in the sort of early stages and teaming up filmmakers who can work with the writers. So this is something that we're going to be doing a lot of, and we don't want the films to be one-to-one correlation between the written work, but there's sort of work together as a whole. And so Eloisa's project is actually a project that Glenn really wanted to do, to look at how homeless people care for the animals that they take in. And we then brought Eloisa to the project. And I think that will be similar, that we'll work with other stories that we feel like could have a companion print and video.
Yeah, and we're also going to be working with different kinds of artists. So we're going to be working with photojournalists, also fiction filmmakers. We're really interested to, all different types of mediums of artists coming and bringing their voice to this as well.
I think I want to thank you guys for all coming. And